Matthew Bryson, Senior Vice President, Equity Research at Wedbush Securities, and Lee Munson, Chief Investment Officer of Portfolio Wealth Advisors. Thank you both for being with us. So, Lee Munson, I'll start with you. A name like Western Dig, why does it matter, and what did you think about it?
Well, it's that old adage, are you going to buy sort of a value stock in the tech sector, or are you going to buy what they spun off with SanDisk, which is the flash memory, the stuff that's a little hotter, more on trend? And I get it. If you're under 40, you're going to be interested in flash memory. I think if you're over 50, you're looking at hard disk drives and all this stuff. Management has asked investors a lot. They've said, we're not looking at the hottest technology. We think that AI is such a big market and cloud computing is so big. We want to stick to our knitting. We're sort of the older technology. We want to cut costs. We want to have a better idea of CapEx, and we want to have bigger gross margins. We want to be a cash cow. And that's what we're seeing today. I think as an investor, those numbers are great. But I think at the end of the day, you have to think going forward, are investors really going to gravitate to that higher gross margin, higher profit value story in that AI space? Or are people just going to continue to chase the sexier things like flash drives or chipsets or things of that nature? But so far, I think it's a show me in terms of Western Digital. It's going to take more than one good quarter to vet this out.
And what do you think, Matthew?
I think we're in a place where, you're looking for names that are maybe a little bit sheltered from tariffs. Their customer base is predominantly hyperscale customers, large cloud customers. So I think Amazon, Microsoft, they have a bit more leeway in terms of spending, even in that environment. Also, they're coming off a quarter where both they and Seagate told you that they didn't ship enough drives, so you don't have to worry like you do with some of my other names that maybe there were some pull-ins and that they overshipped and there's some inventory. Rather, what they gave you in calendar Q1 is the industry shipping being limited. So their customers need more product, and so I look at Western Digital, and I think they're in a relatively good place. I think they underguided for calendar Q2. I think they left some on the table in terms of pricing is getting better. I think gross margins can be better than where they guided. And so I think hard drives are actually a great place to be right now.
So they underguided. That could be, having that sort of conservative type of outlook might be helpful. Matthew, do you have buy ratings on names like Western Dig, Seagate, SMCI?
Certainly Western Digital and Seagate have buy ratings on both of them. Again, I think hard drives are an undersupply. I think gross margins continue to go up. I think earnings power continues to grow, certainly through Q2. You have all the uncertainty that we have with the rest of the world in terms of what does the administration do next? What's the impact on the macro? But again, I think that hard drives are more sheltered than some other names in semi and tech. With Supermicro, I'm a neutral there. I think it's a slightly different story than hard drives.
And what do you think here, Lee Munson? I mean, when you say winner, I mean, which ones do you think could really be winners? Maybe not in the short term, in the next few weeks, but, in the next year or so, which names just shine to you in the tech world?
I've traditionally been such a value investor, you'd think I'd be all over Western Digital, and I appreciate the other guest's enthusiasm. I love his point of view on that. But I have to look beyond this bear market. I like to invest for 1, 2, 3 years. And so I still have bets on, I still have Nvidia. I still have AMD. I think people are not thinking about AMD's gaming business as much. That's also, ask any young person, can you get the chips? And they say there's a shortage out there. But ultimately, I think you have to stay on the cutting edge of AI. I would prefer not to get in the more defensive spaces like a Western Digital. I would rather be in the room where it happened, and that's still going to be in NVIDIAs of the world. It's still going to be in AMDs in the world. And I also like things that are related. I still like Google. I still like Amazon. I like the idea of adopting AI cloud enterprise bolt-ons, and you're going to need places like Google and Amazon to do that. The rubber meets the road when big enterprise, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies get in there and actually get a use case for AI. that's where I think the next step is going to be. And so that's why I'm still looking at those larger names that are going to be able to deliver that, just like they delivered cloud, over 10, 15 years ago.
Right. Do you agree, Matthew? Does Lee have a point, or that's not how you're doing it right now?
No, I think there's certainly places to be invested around AI. Right. I think that storage benefits. It depends certainly on your time horizon. If you look at Western Digital versus Seagate, say on the storage side, Seagate, I believe, has an advantage with their HAMR technology that really starts to show up in 26, 27, just because they're able to give you higher capacity drives. Certainly still positive on Nvidia. I think they're a leader in the AI space. I think AI gets to be in a lot of places. Having said all of that, I also think there's something to be said for a Western Digital and a Seagate where my numbers suggest that there had been this morning 50% upside for WD from where it was traded.
Great to see you both. Matthew Bryson, Lee Munson, thank you so much. Good luck there at Tech, Western Dig in particular, and many other names.